Welcome to this week's edition of What Matters on TRAXXfm. Yeah, it's Kong Yu keeping company on the show for the edition dated Wednesday, 23rd March 2022. And today we're getting the lowdown, the details, the updates on, unfortunately, the subject of what's trending. Commercial crime in Malaysia, unfortunately, right? But here to give us details, facts, as well as important advice on how we should best manage and protect ourselves from commercial crime, yeah? I have the privilege to be speaking to DCP Dato Sasikala Devi Subramaniam, who is the Deputy Director of Investigation from the Commercial Crime Investigation Department, CCID, of our Royal Malaysia Police. So this is going to be an exciting segment. We've got Dato herself in the studios. Thank you so much for coming in, Dato. We appreciate it.
A very good morning. And thank you very much, Mr. Kong, for once again the invitation to TRAXXfm to talk about commercial crime.
That's right. The previous conversation we had was over some MCO period, right, in the past 1 or 2 years. Yeah, so we had a very good session then. And now we're speaking live in person. So that's wonderful, right? Thank you so much for taking time out today.
You're most welcome.
Right. And speaking of taking time out, just a quick little plug here that we are also live on Facebook now. So if you have a question for Dato, or if you have a comment, if you'd like to join in our discussion today, our Facebook live session has gone on live now. That's the best way to get in touch with us, to drop a comment or a question in the comment section. Yeah. So join us at TRAXXfm official. Yeah. Meanwhile, let's talk about the subject overall, right? Commercial crime. That's directly under your jurisdiction overall. How do you define it? Can you share with us, please?
Well, in a layman's words, in the layman's terms, commercial crime means fraudulent transactions that leads to economic losses. That means in this sort of transaction, one party makes money and the other party suffer losses. And this can happen to any individuals, and also it also takes place in business transactions, business enterprise. So basically, one would have suffered losses due to some misrepresentations by another party, which have lured him or induced him to part with his money or his property. And another segment that you can look at is misappropriation of properties. When somebody is entrusted with the company's property or with the company's money, and somebody embezzles this money, and we will term it as criminal breach of trust. So there are various angles of commercial crime. Apart from cheating cases, CBT cases, we also look at angles like forgery cases, or also counterfeiting of valuable instruments. So all this encompasses under commercial crime.
Okay.
There must be some economic loss.
So there's some monetary loss, economic loss, like you have mentioned, and there's a crime that's been committed. Right, so these two basically are the caveats to what classifies as a commercial crime overall, right? Can you explain, besides what the examples you've given here, Dato, any about the different types? Have we covered them all? Or are there some other ones that you'd like to share with us about the types of commercial crimes that are reported currently overall?
Well, I could basically divide it into two categories, whereby we have that conventional type of commercial crime, where I talked about CBT and cheating cases where you meet in person and the deals doesn't take off. But what is prevalent these days, in these few years, looking back at it, are cybercrime fraud. And this is very prevalent now, whereby they do not meet in person. All this fraud takes place online. So these are the type of crimes we have to be wary about, because we do not know to whom we are talking to behind the screen. Yeah, so they do not come face to face to you. So there are more challenges, I would say, that bars us for going further to investigate. A lot of restrictions, because we are talking about information technology now. So it has its pros and it has its cons. So in this sort of cybercrime, maybe I can share what are the type of cybercrime frauds that takes place in our department.
Okay, share with us.
So we are talking about Macau scam. That's the one that I spoke about the previous time at length.
That's right.
Apart from that, Macau scam is also termed as telecommunication fraud or impersonation fraud. All right. Apart from that, we have online purchase fraud. Since COVID, a lot of people buy online.
Right.
Because a lot of shops are closed and they have no choice.
So this would be the online shopping scams.
Yes.
Right? Or people being cheated.
Yes. They buy through the websites, through the social media, because things are cheap, so they're lured into it. Apart from that, we also have investment fraud. Everybody would like to make money fast, quick money, big money. So they fall to prey into investment fraud. Apart from that, also we have heard about money lenders. People do not have money. Instead of going to financial institution, they go to money lenders to borrow money. However, the scammers take opportunity out of it, whereby we term it as loan fraud. There is no actual loan, but you are scammed into parting with your money instead of getting money. So we have loan fraud. And also we also have romance scam or 419 scam.
Right.
I believe a lot of us know about this, whereby we get to know another party mainly through the social media. So one is lured to befriend another person, and during that conversation they parted with their money through various modus operandi. Believing that that person is genuine, they tend to assist that person by giving out money to the other party. And last but not least, we have something called the business email compromise. This happens to business entity. So sometimes the email of this business entity is hacked, whereby they are able to penetrate into their email, and what they do here is they divert the attention of the company to make payments to another bank account. So what is important here is for the company is to make confirmation with their clients whether there is a change of the bank account. So basically, these are the categories in cybercrime fraud.
Right. So these have been, unfortunately established as some of the key ways that these crimes are committed these days. It comes to mind as well because recently been giving this a major focus. Just to keep everyone as safe as possible. Even things like there's a scholarship scam that's going on. Right, job seeker scam, like you mentioned, that you alluded to as well, related to all this, where people are purportedly offered a job, but to start it, they have to pay some sort of amount first. But turns out, of course, the whole so-called job opportunity is actually fraudulent, is fake.
Yes.
Isn't it? And even that scholarship also.
Correct.
Right? So unfortunately, we see more and more the scamsters or the fraudsters, the people who are committing these crimes, they are resorting to ways that tap on people's desperation.
Correct.
And also needs. Speaking of which, besides some of the overall trends that you mentioned just now, Dato, now how does the Commercial Crime Investigation Department see the trend of commercial crimes overall? And also maybe you can share with us some of the statistics as well if you have them.
All right. Let me look through my notes here.
Okay.
I have the statistics for the past 3 years since 2019. So basically overall in commercial crime statistics, we see that the trend or the cases seem to be on the rise. So it is increasing yearly from 2019 right up to 2021. So in 2019, we had about 26,465 cases reported, and it increased 3% to 2020. We had 27,323 cases. And in 2021, we had 15% increase in the cases. It stood at 31,419. As of this year, January to February 2022, we have 5,010 cases. So this is the overall figure for commercial crime. However, if we dissect it further, specifically to cybercrime fraud, whereby I spoke on the purchase online fraud, the loan fraud, investment fraud, Macau scam, African scam or 419, or the business email compromise, we can see from the total statistics that I have mentioned earlier, about 50 to 60% of these cases are under cybercrime fraud. So this statistics is quite high. And out of all these cybercrime fraud, the highest fraud committed for this sort of crime, it is purchase online. The quantity may be big, but the numbers are small. But when we talk about the losses, the economic losses suffered by the victims, we have investment fraud as the highest loss. The highest loss, and the number of cases that are very high for cybercrime fraud, it is on the loan fraud these days. Like you talked about desperation. People have lost their job. They are in need of money to start business, to have a livelihood. So they tend to borrow money from whichever sources they could find. So we find that the number of cases for loan fraud has increased to about 5,000 cases for the past few years. But when we are talking about economic losses, like I have mentioned, the highest falls under investment fraud. As of 2021, we had about 84 million. 245 million.
Oh.
245 million. That's how high. It is very overwhelming.
Right.
Because people, as I said also, they have lost their job. And people tend to be greedy because they are trying to make fast buck. You make money in a very short time, within 3 hours, within 6 hours, within 24 hours.
Right.
And you get as high returns as high as 700%, 800%. You and I don't have to be here today.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good reminder overall. If it sounds too good to be true, it is usually 99.9% of the time, isn't it? So, but that's the thing. So when people are in a way, generally speaking, more desperate, that's when you have more of these so-called opportunities as well, yeah?
Correct.
So that's a big amount, 240 over million.
Yes.
But that's just based on reported figures, right?
Correct.
Dato?
Yes.
Yeah, imagine the ones that go unreported.
Yeah, it can be more than that.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe I can also share, like for Macau scam, the staggering figure is at 84 million. And normally, when you talk about Macau scam, the most of the victims come from the senior groups. Yeah, those who are at the time of retirement, they have lost they are robbed off of their retirement fund. Their whole life savings is gone. And this is actually very worrisome for us because you are at a stage of life where you are not able to reap such savings anymore. Yeah,
something to be careful for, especially if you put the context together, isn't it? So we're talking about, of course, there's a concern overall on our, for example, EPF savings, and then there's of course the need to tap into that based on what's the challenging times that we have lived through for the past 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and then you have these sort of things to watch out for as well, where one could be cheated right, of their life savings if they're not careful. So definitely it's going to be, unfortunately, a lot of work for the department that you helm, Dato, but it's just where the world is overall, right?
Yes.
For all of us, because so much of what we do and will be doing will be focused online, right, and on the cyberspace these days, yeah. So we're going to take a very short break, Dato, right, and everyone who is with us over the airwaves and also on Facebook, we'll be back in under 30 seconds. More to come right here on What Matters. So stick around and stay tuned.
Stroll down the Teluk Kemang Beach and delight in the botanical treasure of Tanjung Tuan.
Port Dickson, Negeri Sembilan, 101.3 TRAXXfm.
This is What Matters, and you are tuned in to TRAXXfm.
That's right. Welcome back to What Matters. Today I have with me the very eloquent DCP Dato Sasikala Devi Subramaniam, who's the Deputy Director of Investigation from the Commercial Crime Investigation Department, CCID, of the Royal Malaysia Police. Yeah, so it's so wonderful to be speaking to you, Dato, and because you speak so eloquently, right? And you are the perfect person to actually share with us via the media overall, yeah, on basically what to watch out for and statistics like you shared just now in terms of commercial crime, and importantly, how we can stay safe. First of all, starting with identification of possible scams, right? I know it's a very broad topic, but generally, if you could summarize for us, as scammers are getting more creative and bold these days, due to what they see as more vulnerability overall, amongst the public. Is there any way we can tell that we can use? What's your advice in terms of identifying scams, sniffing out fraudsters, and so on?
Okay, but for today, I probably would like to touch on all types of cybercrime fraud because the last time I spoke quite lengthy on the Macau scam, but I will touch on it today as well.
Okay.
Actually, it's very simple, Ko. Because there's a lot of campaign that has been going on,
That's right.
and as I mentioned, all these are online fraud. I believe that you also would have probably received such calls.
Yep.
I too have received, and I had enjoyed my time talking with them and going along with them as well.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's very simple. When we talk about Macau scam or an impersonation fraud, that means they are impersonating as somebody from the authorities. It could be from the Inland Revenue. That is a trend now.
That's the trend now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
most of the reports that we receive where they impersonate as Inland Revenue officers. Now, when you talk about income tax, you are afraid, right? All your money could be frozen or seized by this agency. So it's a matter of playing up with your feelings, with your emotion, what intimidates you more, all right? Agencies like Bank Negara Malaysia, agencies like Customs, or the police itself. And they bring in other agencies like AMLA, because AMLA is the department that comes in and freezes your money. So naturally, people are frightened about that. And these are the things that we have to look out for. Firstly, if they impersonate themselves from a body, authorized body, you should not entertain these calls because the police will not be liaising with you or communicating with you through phone calls.
Okay, so that's the bottom line, isn't it? So when you receive a call from anyone purportedly from any of these agencies, it's a scam.
Purportedly asking you details on your personal details.
Via the phone.
Yeah, via the phone. Probably they would ask you for your IC. Bank account that belongs to you, and you do not know who is behind the screen you are talking to. So police will not, or the other authority agency will not require such information through telephone calls. Okay, that is important.
Okay.
But if I call you to come to the police station, don't put down the phone. So probably that's for investigation.
Right.
But if they fish important information, financial information from you, you should not reveal. You either put it down or you tell them, can you get back to me later? And then check with your friends. Check with the police itself whether such calls are true. Okay? So basically, this is the most important thing when it comes to Macau scam. All right. So there are a lot, but I'll go to the salient points. Okay.
Yes.
So when it comes to, we talk about loan fraud. Yeah, and loan fraud when you're desperate to get money. So what happens is they will send you a link. All right, in that link, you have to fill up information about yourself. It also, you have to fill up your details of your name, your IC, what bank account number you have, and so on. And apart from that, what they will tend to do is they will try to fish you by asking you to pay some down payment. You know, they will say your credit rating is not good. You have to pay lawyers' fees to do the processing. You have the processing fee that you need to pay. So do not borrow money from sources that are not legal. Go to a financial institution or a proper registered licensed money lender. You can go there, all right, but not over the phone, because you really do not know whether that person is scamming you or legitimate person.
Okay.
So it's best not to deal with loan applications through online. Though there are talks whereby legitimate companies or financial institutions may come online to provide, but so far that matter has not materialized yet.
Right, unless you are already an established customer.
Correct.
Right, or some financial institution or bank, then you already have a direct connection. Obviously, then it is viable to apply for cash upfront advances and all that. kind of via a click of a button or through the app. But that's already because you have an established link with the bank.
But you have to go to the proper website of that financial institution, because here they would ask you to click to a certain link, and they may actually portray a legitimate financial institution there, like a Bank Negara Malaysia's link, and you may be taken for a ride. So it's best, as far as possible, you go down to Bank Negara. Sorry, Bank Negara do not provide loan actually. So you go down to the financial institution to get the proper information. You know, if you feel dubious about those sites that you have clicked into. So we are talking about loan fraud. When you touch about investment fraud, you know, investment fraud is actually, I would say, a favorite among those victims, because, like I said, they want to make fast money. They are promised with many types of investment. You can check with SC, Security Commissions, whether these are legitimate investment companies and so on. But the thing is, what is the red flag in these sort of cases? The moment they promise you a very high return in a very short time. We don't have to work then.
This is what we were saying before the break, right? If it sounds too good to be true, it in 99.9% is.
Even the person who's proposing don't need to propose to you. He just make money for himself.
For him or herself,
So as simple as that, you know. And then when we talk about love scam, all right, this is through the social media like the Facebook. So you have to be very vigilant about the information that you post into the Facebook, to whom you are talking to. When you actually filter through the friends that you are in the Facebook, you tend to see there's not much information about these people. You know, they may show a very handsome guy over there, and behind the screen is somebody else. And once they gain your trust, your confidence, and you fall for them, and that's where, you know, they will tell you that they have gifts to send you, and the gifts got stuck with custom, and you have to pay a certain processing money to. All these are scams, you know. So in this sort of cases, they will not have video calls, so you really do not know who's the person. But yet, people succumb to it, even though they do not know who are the person behind the scenes. And then, apart from that, we have this BEC, like I've mentioned. Always the company, if you receive an email asking you to transfer to another bank account, call up your client to make a confirmation whether there's such email was sent out to you. You know, make a confirmation, call up. It's as simple as that. But in all this fraud that I have mentioned to you, one stands out very clearly. Why? They will ask you to transfer your money into an individual account. Say you want to borrow money from RHB. At the end of the day, they ask you to transfer money to Co in your individual transaction. Be alert. I am borrowing money from a financial transaction, and why do I have to transmit money into an individual account?
Right.
So this is what that should trigger you. You should not transfer any money to any individual account. But the trend is also changing, Instead of using individual accounts they are also using business enterprise account. So you have to be very wary. And normally these transactions take place, multiple transactions, not one. Could be 30, could be 40 multiple transactions, and to various individual accounts. So this should set a red flag to you. Even if you are investing, instead of putting money into a company, why are you investing in somebody's individual accounts?
Right.
So these are the simple red flags that can trigger you that they should look out for.
Yeah. You know, thanks for walking us through, the types or how these scammers work, their modus operandi, and also generally, you know, we talked about as well who would be more likely to fall victim? Those who are vulnerable, those who are on the desperate side, where they maybe have financial cash flow issues, and even the lonely, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to love scams, right?
Yes.
So what would your advice be overall, right? Besides what you already said, specifically to each of these types of scams, how can we better protect ourselves?
I always believe that safety begins at home. Like for today, when we are talking about programs like this. People may not be interested to listen. If you're talking about shopping or giving away freebies,
right.
Everybody is very tuned in to listen.
Correct, yes.
But many of them here may just switch off once they want to hear programs like this, which they believe things may not happen to them. Correct? So for me, I believe that safety begins from home. I hope viewers are there with me, and they should spread this message to their siblings, to their family members, that this sort of scam is true and it can happen to you and to me. So this is the first thing that they should start off. Safety begins from home. So once this is made known, they become a more conscious, a more vigilant individual. So they are aware, these are the things. You cannot be too trusting on anything that is on social media. Okay. So secondly, they should not panic very quickly. They should not panic very quickly. If they receive such calls, put down the call or tell that person that you will call back later to speak to the person. And thirdly, I would say that never share your personal details like your PIN number, your username, your password to anybody. So when you do that, these scammers have the opportunity to do whatever they want with your bank account. In some cases, they even ask the victim to go and open a new bank account and with the phone number given by the scammer. So when they get whatever tag for any transaction that take place, the scammer gets the tag number and they are able to do the transfer whatsoever. So this is one point that we should be very careful. Okay, and apart from that, they also should be very careful of any links that they receive. For example, you want to buy products on a secured website like Lazada, Shopee, Carousel or whatnot. But you see, some of the merchants there may not be genuine. They will say, okay, we PM. All right. That's when they bring you out from the secured website and they tend to communicate with you online. And they have their own link. And they are able to fish all your personal details or asking you to transfer money to some individual accounts. So that's where, even though you started out from a secured website, you may be led away to a phishing website. And apart from that also, I would say that do not post any information on the social media, because this is where they capture. Some people like to reveal their information in their social media. That's how they capture it. You see, like a few days ago, I too received a message from the Facebook from a friend of mine, a Canadian friend of mine. So, the basic things they will say, hi, how are you doing?
Yes.
So that sort triggered me. How are you doing? So I was not sure. So I also went along to say I'm good, right? So the next response that I got, have you heard about this Warren charitable organization? And I knew that this is a fraud. So what I did next, I posed another question. When did we last met?
Yeah.
So the person couldn't answer me, and I put a question mark and couldn't answer me. I said, "You got the wrong person, scammer."
Yeah, that's a great way to handle
Yeah.
it, right? Overall, when it comes to those Facebook
Yeah.
posts as well, you know, I think we all have gotten them somehow. Just be careful because they're invading our personal accounts and things like that as well. Yeah.
And one last thing, that I would like to mention here: if any of us do not keep much money on our online, which has internet banking, what you call it, details, internet banking activities. So do not keep much money in that sort of bank account. You can keep some minimum amount because you may want to do some transactions, because the scammers could get all your password and they could do the transfer from these internet banking transactions. So basically, these are the tips that I could share with the viewers out there. Okay. And last one, you yourself do not be a mule account holder, right? Because without these mule accounts, whoever rents out or knowingly, unwittingly given out their ATM card to these syndicates, they are being abused. At the end of the day, they are not the beneficiary of whatever ill-gotten gain in that account, because it will be transferred out as swiftly as it is transferred in.
Yes.
So tell your family members that your ATM account, your ATM card, your bank account belongs to you. You should never lend it, loan it, rent it out to anybody. You could be my friend of 10 years, but never trust anybody with your ATM card. So if we can stop this, we can stop all the scams.
Yeah, because there will be no more mule accounts to use. Yeah, so remember to always be safe rather than sorry overall. Yeah, and importantly, if one feels that he or she is being scammed, what is the advice? What should the person do immediately?
Okay, so 2 steps I would say here. Firstly, save this number in your phone now. The first one is the CCID Scam Response Center. The number is 03 2610 1599 1599, and another one is 2610 1559. So it belongs to CCID Scam Response Center, which operates from 8 in the morning right up to 10 at night. So if you receive any calls and you feel dubious about these phone calls, you can call to this response center to get their advice.
Right.
Whether it's a legitimate call, it's a genuine call. So you are preventing yourself from being a victim. Or if you have just been scammed, you can immediately call this number to get their assistance. We will try to, as far as possible, to assist you. Okay? So the next step that you can do, if you have become a victim, you go to the nearest police station, lodge a police report, bring all the information with you, whatever WhatsApp messages, print it out, whatever documents that you have, banking slips, banking transactions, bring it along with you to the police station. So whatever information like telephone numbers, bank accounts that you have transferred your money to, bring it along to you to the police station so that we can start or commence our investigation.
Very important, fast action, immediate action. Make sure you have all the documentation.
Right.
Nowadays, for better or for worse, we can easily have that thanks to the smartphone and all that. Very quickly, we can gather all that information. It's very good and very comprehensive. I appreciate it, Dato. Before we wrap up, just want to get to our Facebook Live audience there, showing quite a lot of appreciation for today's segment, right? Like you were saying, when it is important, we should share it, and some people are in that frame of mind, shall we say. Shirley Key says, from the scam reports received, this is more of a question. Okay, I'll come back right to it. Marian Kaur says, good morning, Kong Yu and DSP Dato. Right, thanks for today's topic, as it is very common today. I'm sure she's referring to scams. Rose Rufina with her morning greeting. Boniface, Sheila Sharon as well wishes good morning, Dr. Sam Peter. And CMS Fred says, very good morning, DJ Kong Yu, and welcome to the show. This was earlier on, Dato. Right, thanks for the topic that Dato is presenting today, such a comprehensive one. Watching live from Cebu, Sarawak. Showing appreciation there as well. Like I was saying, Shirley was saying, from the scam reports received, are there success in recovering the money generally? So, Dato, what's your comment to that?
Well, of course, there are cases that we have assisted and we are able to block their account immediately. It really depends how long or how fast the transaction took place. If it's immediate, probably there is a chance for us to assist you to recover the money. But you see, this group are very smart. They will tell you, do not tell anyone about what we are discussing now. So when they are alerted about this, it may have taken them weeks or months before they actually come to us to lodge the police report. By then, we are not able to assist them. But maybe immediately you are alerted that you have fallen victim. You can call the Scam Response Center. We may be able to assist you. And there have been cases where we have assisted. Because you see, these scammers, they are very, very fast ahead of us. When they see the police are acting very swiftly and very fast, they are doubly fast. You see, the moment the money comes in, as fast as it comes in, it moves out to another bank account, and finally it is withdrawn cash through the ATM machine. Right. So by the time police escalates to look out for all these bank accounts, it's too late because time is of essence. So that is the battle that we are facing these days.
Right. Now, Adam Lee has this. This is a more broad question, not an easy one, I would say, to answer, because cybersecurity overall, right? How confident are we on cybersecurity measures? I guess referring specifically to Malaysia.
That is actually very, very broad, all right? Yeah. And it also involves other agencies as well. Right, yes. You know, it depends how secure are the other agencies or the telcos and so on. You know, we are talking about telecommunication companies. We are talking about financial institutions.
Online shopping platforms.
And everything. So it's actually very broad. But what I would like to say to, who was our friend?
Adam. Yes.
Like I said earlier, safety begins at home. You take care of yourself. How you want to be safe.
Yep.
Do not reveal important information, personal particulars about yourself to third parties. This is one of the very basic way where you can help yourself and how you can fight the crime against the scammers. I really believe in that. Sometimes it lies within us.
Yes. And then after that, of course, as a family unit, like I was saying, you expand it towards an agenda for the whole family to be versed. And of course, then the responsibility of parents to share the information with their children and so on. And of course, amongst grown-up family members as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah. March 25th is going to be our Police Day, right? So what is the theme for this year? I just want to quickly check with you since you are in the studios today. And importantly, what's your hope in conjunction with Police Day this year?
Our team have not changed. Polis dan masyarakat berpisah tiada. So this is our 215th celebration. Annually, we will hold it at our training school that is at Pulapol, Kuala Lumpur in Jalan Semarak. I suppose it will go live over the TV and as well as radio. So our hope is for this year to fight against the scammers. We should fight against scammers. We should not give them any opportunity to trick us, to rob us of our money. And I really hope this message will spread out to everyone. We become a more vigilant and conscious netizen to fight the scammers. Don't give in to them. Don't panic. Don't be frightened. And I'm sure we can do that. And secondly, advise everyone not to give away your ATM cards, like I've mentioned. You know why, Ko? Because you will have problems in future. You will not be able to take out any loan from financial institutions. You may not even be able to buy a house or a car because your account will be blacklisted by the bank.
Yes. Take care of your account, okay? Your personal account. Very important last message there, yeah? We've got some interesting comments here. Thank you, Welly, as well as Larry Cheng, as well, for commenting. So sorry, we can't get to Welly's last question, right? Because we've run out of time, thanks to the comprehensive details given by our guest today. DCP Dato Sasikala Devi Subramaniam, Deputy Director of Investigation for the Commercial Crime Investigation Department, CCID of Royal Malaysia Police. On behalf of all of us at TRAXXfm, our wonderful listeners and viewers, wishing everyone of the Royal Malaysia Police Happy Police Day in advance. Thank you so much, Dato, for coming in. We appreciate it.
Most welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah. And thank you so much for keeping with us and right here on Momentum as we wrap up What Matters Today, bringing in the quick news updates in a few minutes right here on TRAXXfm, and after that touching base again for the afternoon 2 hours of the show. My name is Kong Yu. Good morning. Stay tuned. Keep it locked right here on Trax.